And did you empathize with the character of Paul Hackett?
Well, in a way, in the sense the script really felt like the anxiety dreams that we have, that a lot of people have. I had one last night. You know, I was in a place I couldn't get back. I hadn't packed. There were books were like.
You sure that was a dream?
Exactly.
Because that to me sounds like my actual life.
You know, your
when
actual
I'm
life.
awake.
We hadn't packed. No, the plane is taking off. You have to go. No, what about? No, oh my God. And constant. Or you're trying to get your cell phone or a phone, and you can't get to it, and you're supposed to call the family, and there's something going on. So in a way, that was pretty much the life I was living, and that's why I sort of empathize with him. The key thing was, could I go back to the way I made pictures when I did Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, or even Taxi Driver, Taxi was 45 days and nights shooting. New York, Raging Bull, and King of Comedy were 100 days shooting. And there were big crews and lots of lights. And can I go back? And I had met Michael Ballhaus, who worked with Fassbinder, and we changed the whole way of working. So for me, it was really learning how to make pictures again and learning to shoot fast and a sense of freedom, you know.
The scene in the cab, where the cab takes off at 3,000 miles an hour, when that happened in the movie, it had just started happening in New York.
No hurry.
There was like a very important year in New York, which now I know what it was because of the year this movie came out, where the cab drivers completely changed. They went from being kind of like working class Jewish guys smoking a cigar.
Some Italian guys too.
Right, smoking a cigar with like a cap.
Brooklyn.
You know, complaining about whoever the mayor was.
Yeah, the mayor. They hated the mayor.
That was whatever it was. But they drove normally for a New York cab driver. And then they all evaporated into thin air, and they were replaced by maniacs who took off at 3,000 miles an hour. So when that cab, and everyone was talking about it, like, these cab drivers are so crazy. First you thought it's one, then you realize, no, it's everybody. And when that cab took off at 3,000 miles an hour, my friend Lisa and I saw it with her, we were on the floor laughing. Because it was not basically a topic of conversation, it just kind of happened. To see it in a movie, you know, was like, we were on the floor laughing
Well, the
hysterically.
thing about that actually happened to me. One night I was up seeing some friends up on 88th Street, whatever, in West Side, and I had to go all the way back down to Duane Street. And it was about 2 in the morning, maybe 3 in the morning. It was summer. And it was a big checker cab that pulled up, and I got in, and wham! And we sailed through the city with flamenco, blasting. Windows open. It was magnificent. It was magnificent. What makes you love the city? You know, I mean, it was crazy. It was scary at times, but the windows were open. There was no air conditioning, and the flamenco was blasting. And I finally was deposited on Duane Street.
I don't anymore. I'm really sorry.
At that time, shooting at night in that area, one great thing about it.
Empty.
It was empty. And you got these streets, and it facilitated the lighting of the streets in a better way. And also, I think that we had higher speed lenses, so it wasn't that bad. But it was almost like a back lot of a studio. But it was terribly lonely. There was no bar you can go into. There was no restaurant. There were no bakeries where the bread was being made at 4 in the morning and go and buy one, and you start eating the bread that was still warm. None of that. We were suffering.
Because, of course, when that part of the city was built, there was no electricity either. So that's right, the original.
It was nothing.
Right. I mean, that's a pretty early part of New York.
Yes, very early part. And, you know, the streets were not part of the grid pattern that well.
No.
So you got confused. You know, the Duane Street area, I mean, you know, all of a sudden it's 26th Street. You had no idea where you are.
What do you want from me?
Everything that he touches in the movie becomes dangerous. Even the keys being thrown down to him. We struggled to get those 6 to 8 frames where the keys were coming at the camera, and his point of view, where you just think for a second, it's gonna hit me. It was very difficult to get. We finally got it. And so even the keys are dangerous.
Some people would put them like in a puppet, like, or a doll's head or something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Like a decapitated doll.
Right.
And that's the key. Already I'm feeling funny about going into the place.
Listen, I owe you an apology. There's just no excuse for leaving the way I did.
and I'm sorry.
Throughout the entire movie, no matter what disaster confronts Griffin, he's always kind of polite.
Well, yeah.
You know, he's always, like, more polite than most men in that era would have been.
And, I gather there's something wrong, or you have some burns or something, and I just couldn't handle that. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened to me.
In that way, it makes it kind of contemporary, where he's afraid, I don't want to be misconstrued.
Right.
Like, you know,
Or
may I?
like, may I?
Can
Or
I?
Can I invite
agree?
you? Can I invite you to leave?
Yes. I mean, and when I was watching that, I thought, that is more now,
Yeah.
you know, than my memory of then.
Well, I like that his character was that way then, because he wasn't meant to be there in the first place.
Right, and that proves it.
It
Because
really
he's
proves
always
it.
like, you know, I mean, to me, that proves it.
That's what I liked about Paul, because he tried to be reasonable. But there's no such thing as that kind of reason, really, especially down there, you know.
Because it has no one knows what you're doing.
That's right. For all they know, he could be up to something.
that's right.
And also, that's why he becomes the guy that they think has been robbing the apartments.
And he's constantly misjudged.
Yes.
This the guy?
Yeah.
He meets up with Horst, Will Patton. He meets up with Kiki, the great Linda Fiorentino. They have their own agenda. They got their own lives. He doesn't belong there. He sees the rope on Linda. And at one point in time, I told Griffin, I said, say, you know, my, these guys must be sailors.
What are these guys, sailors? Look at this work. It's so elaborate. Must have taken him hours. How'd they get in?
He is so out of it. And in my mind, he doesn't belong there. He's intruding. They're not crazy. He doesn't belong anywhere down there with those people.
No, that's true. Yeah.
None of them. You walk in a room and people are in there and all of a sudden they stop talking. Well, they're talking about you. Obviously.
Yeah, that's where they stop.
That's why they stop. The whole movie is that moment. That's what the movie is.
I mean, Paul Hackett believed people would help him because he needed them to.
Yeah.
Belief always comes from desperation.
Desperation. That was the
Okay.
other thing I told Griffin. At one point, he was begging John Hurd to give him the keys or whatever, and I said, "I'm not going to stop shooting until you convince me you need those keys, because I don't believe it yet." Now he was great, and he did it. I said, you really, really need them, and you need him to give them to you."
Stay here. Wait, where are you going? Where are you going? To get your keys. Okay. Thank you, thank you.
One has to understand, too, it's not literal, the film. You know, it's almost like an 18th century novel where, or picaresque novel where crazy things happen and, it's Lawrence Stern or Fielding or that sort of thing, where it's heightened in a way. When you look at the film, you have to be open to playing the game. So if you say, well, he could have gone off the corner, he could have walked uptown, you're not playing the game.
Yes,
And
also, you're not in it. You're outside of it.
You're outside of it.
You know, I mean,
Go in it.
yeah, if you're in it, you do feel it.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly.